Hello everyone, welcome to Carrow Road. I am at Carrow Road, as you'll be able to tell. Look, there's a rainbow over Carrow Road. I'm taking it as a sign from God that everything will be fine. Because this has basically been 120 minutes of being kicked in the balls. Or for my female viewers, obviously I'm not a lady, so I don't know how it feels, but I can imagine there are plenty of places where it also hurts. So Norwich have been knocked out of the FA Cup in the quarter-final stage. First time they've been at this stage for 30-odd years. They took Manchester United as it's just started raining. Can you believe? I mean, really? I'm not stopping. Norwich really did push United, actually. They played as well as they've played since the restart. They were still frustrating. That's fair to say, because the lack of confidence was an issue, and there were some really good passages of play that they had, yet it would still end with a mistake, or it end due to their own issues rather than Man United producing something to stop them. So much of it was down to their own issues, which is such a shame, because I think I can see the United buses leaving actually over there. I don't know if you saw that, because a lot of this afternoon kind of emphasised how much Norwich have got in them, and probably having spent the last fortnight having to come to the realisation that they're not good enough. They put in a performance that offered probably a counter to that. Not entirely, it has to be said, because the side that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer put out, let's be brutally honest here, he went into this game going, we can give a few players some game time. People who hadn't played a lot, so Jesse Lingard started, Luke Shaw, Pogba, Rashford, Martial were all on the bench. And you could tell from watching Bruno Fernandes playing that there is a guy with exceptional quality. But it's, and in fairness, United didn't really improve much when Pogba was very good, I thought. But I think United probably still played at the same kind of level when those guys came on. And I think sadly at this point you have to appreciate whether United were actually getting themselves up for it. But that is me trying to give a balanced argument and a balanced view of the game. It's not because I'm trying to undermine what Norwich did, and Norwich can only play what's in front of them, and it was still some very good players out there. So it's not about, I'm not trying to undermine what Norwich did, I'm just making the point really that it's always going to be two sides involved in a game, and you can only deal with what that looks like. It's a little look for those of you missing Carrow Road. The rainbow's still there, by the way. There it is. And as I think I tweeted before the game, actually, the Premier League return has been one thing in terms of playing behind closed doors and there's no atmosphere, blah blah blah. But this personally was the one that really got to me. And I know, as I've been lucky enough to be here and to take in the game, and you guys weren't allowed to. And part of the thing that really galled me about this game was that this should have been a Saturday evening, floodlights just coming on, and this would have been a real occasion. And don't get me wrong, the game had intensity and it was competitive, proper game, but it just misses so much, doesn't it? And I think all we can hope for is that, at least in terms of a football context, it's safe enough to have more people in, so that we get a little bit more back of the football that we all know, love and fell in love with. Norwich, goalless at half time. The defending for both goals, Norwich had numbers in the box. It was just people making bad decisions, and I think Ben Godfrey was very good for most part of the game. And fair play to Timm Klose, he's started one game of football since January 2019. Up until 2 weeks ago, and he's started 3 in the space of 2 weeks after a really serious injury. So the effort he's gone to and put in, I think there were probably a couple of bits he was struggling with today. His sending off, I like the fact he complained about it, but there really was nothing for him to complain about. If you want to know what I'm going to do now, I'm going to severely stick to the camera, because at the moment you're about to see both Norwich City team buses go past me, and I mean the last thing I want to do is make eye contact with them while I do this video, and they might not even be on there, who knows, but there go the buses, and they will be, because I don't think they're allowed to drive here independently. Anyway, so yeah, Timm Klose got sent off, and he will now miss the Arsenal game. He'll only serve a one-game ban, because he was denying of a clear goal-scoring opportunity, which it was. He was wrestling out in Igalo, there's no complaints. And Bruno Fernandes's magic in the build-up kind of caught Ben Godfrey out, which left Tim exposed. But you know, he probably didn't have anything else he could have done. Norwich's equaliser, which was nice to see, we only seem to see them in the FA Cup, was a great strike from Todd Cantwell, who had a period in that second half where he was picking up some great positions, and he was playing really well. And it's nice to see Todd playing at that level, because you know he's had such a great development year. It's been brilliant to watch. Did pick up an abductor muscle injury, according to Daniel, although Todd, I think, said he was fine. So hopefully that won't be too much of an issue going forward. Lucas Rupp, so Norwich played a 4-3-3, or they started with it anyway. It did evolve as the game went on, and obviously had 10 men and things. But I had Lucas Rupp tucking inside a little bit, and he was as good as I've seen him in a yellow shirt. I think that maybe is the first time I've looked at it and gone, okay, well, you know, if Norwich find themselves in the Championship next year, I think he could be quite, if with a full pre-season and having had 6 months of settling in, you'd like to think there's a player there that can really help Norwich settle into a more positive routine next season after weekly defeats, which is, to be brutally honest, what it has basically been this year. So we'll keep fingers crossed there. On the flip side of that, we see, I mean, I don't know what it is with Teemu. I don't know if it's because he's got, you know, it's really hard to pin it down, because there are chances he's not taking. The touches aren't quite there. I don't know how he feels in himself in terms of fitness and conditioning. I don't know. We always knew that this scenario would be good for some players. They would sort of live up to it, and maybe the training ground players might suddenly go, wow, this is amazing, it's like training, who couldn't quite do it in a game. Maybe they would come good, but then likewise there are players who turn it on for a match day, and they haven't quite got that intensity regardless of what they try and do. So but that, you know, I mean, Teemu had obviously been struggling as well for a while, and the toe injury was kind of a part of that, and that's not an issue now, but just looks so short of confidence, and it just isn't taking things on, and it's a real shame. And hopefully whatever it is that will help him rediscover what he has, he will rediscover it. The goal came in I think it was like the 119th minute, something like that, 118th. So galling, so typical. It must have hit 3 Norwich defenders before it got to Harry Maguire. I mean, it just you can't keep calling it bad luck if it keeps happening like that, but it just really does make you sort of stick in the throat a bit. And yeah, I think, as I kind of tweeted, I think Tim Krul felt that most. That's what it looked like going down the tunnel. He headed down the tunnel pretty quickly, which he doesn't normally do, and he looked pretty annoyed. And I think, 2 minutes away, and he'd have been facing another penalty shootout, and I know he would have really fancied it. But alas, it wasn't to be, and Norwich are out of the FA Cup. And now basically they've got 7 Premier League games to save themselves, and they will still think that they can. And that will be the end of this season. We'll see how quickly we wish it all away. But Arsenal on Wednesday night. I don't know if I'm going yet, because passes are of course usually restricted, and Norwich haven't played away from home yet. So one way or another I will be following it. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. But I will let you know. I'll probably do a video at some point anyway. In the meantime, I hope you're all staying safe and well. And on to the next one.